Will a tune really help your car win a race? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to part 3 of Tuning Truths, where we're on the phone with Eli from Powerhouse Tuning, and he's helping us answer some questions from a professional's perspective. Today's question is, let's say you have two cars with similar horsepower numbers, and one car just has a slightly better tune. Will that tune really make the difference in a race? Here's what Eli had to say about that one.
Okay, so this is a bit tricky. Now, when it comes to drag racing, it's so much more than just power. One of the most important factors is horsepower to weight ratio, which is basically it means if a 500 horsepower car that weighs, let's say, 800 kilograms, it's a lot faster than a 500 horsepower car that weighs 1200 kilograms, for example. And there are obviously other factors like traction and driver mod, especially if the car is a manual. Our shifting speed and timing of the shifts are very important. But I'm assuming you're more interested in the tune itself. Um,
Correct.
to answer your question, it will absolutely make a difference. I'll give you an example. So, what most people don't realize is that when you dyno your car, most people focus on peak horsepower and torque. What that means is that at a certain RPM, your car made X amount of horsepower and Y amount of torque. So, however, the car is not always going to drive at peak horsepower, which is usually close to redline. In a race, your car is going to go to the RPM range from the bottom end all the way to redline, and it's only going to touch peak horsepower for a split second per gear. So the real secret is improving the power band throughout the entire RPM range. So if everything else is equal, like weight, traction, driver mod, a 500 horsepower car with a more linear horsepower curve is always going to outperform a similar horsepower car that abruptly just jumps to 500 horsepower, which is at the highest RPM
So
range.
essentially, 1,000%. That superior tune could definitely win you a race, especially when you think of things like just transmission tunes. Getting that cleaner shift really could drastically change the outcome of a drag race. Eli also explains how there's many other factors to racing that isn't just strictly a tune, right? There's driver mod, weather conditions, traction, things like that that really go into effect as well. Another thing Eli really wants to emphasize is that looking at the whole power band throughout the RPM ranges is very important for your tuner. Make sure that your tuner is looking at the whole power band and not just peak power. Because if you can maximize your horsepower and torque throughout the RPM ranges, that'll drastically win you a lot of races and make you perform a lot better than a lot of other cars.